So I'm known to be a bit of a contrarian. So I thought I'll start the talk today focusing a little bit about small data. We'll get to the big data, but we'll get to it in the end. We've been working with different partners globally on developing new kind of sensing technology. And I'd like to start with a bit of a personal story. One of the startups we are working with developed a completely new kind of wrist sensor. And you know the development process. You sit in the lab, you try it on a few people, a few guinea pigs walk by the hallway, you grab them, you put it on it. Well, they ended up putting their new sensor on somebody who was walking by in the hallway and capture data for about 30 seconds. The data looks inside the wrist during those 30 seconds. And in an audience full of data scientists, I wonder if anybody is seeing something strange in this data. Almost. It's not missing one bit. It's missing 3 bits in a 25-second period. 5 months after that happened, while hiking, the person had a heart attack. He had to be evacuated by a chopper, 2 stents in the heart, and luckily he's alive and okay today. Was there a correlation? I don't know. But that leads us to the area of how do we take wrist devices and really develop use cases for them. Take them beyond being jewelry, beyond being in the drawer, but really generate value, preventive health value that we can prove and show with the wrist devices. And that's what I'll try to talk today. A bit as a background. About a year ago, we announced SimBand. Not a product, but a research platform. It looks like a watch. It's based on the Gear S, but on the back of it, we actually placed what is probably one of the most advanced sensor modules in the world today. 7 wavelengths of PPG, bioimpedance, galvanic skin response, ECG if I touch the clasp, accelerometer, temperature, and no, you cannot go and buy it. You want it, come and work on specific research opportunities, and we'll be able to get it to you. Not only this, we built it modular, so you can go and develop a completely new sensing technology, put it inside. The example I used in the beginning was developed by this startup that you can see in the bottom of the slide, which is kind of the world's first contactless-based sensor. Using RF technology, it actually doesn't need to touch the skin and perform some form of tomography. So that's what you have seen on slide 1. And the data is in the cloud. So you're able to access the data whenever you want. Continuous streams of data, spots of data. You're seeing here data of me when I was preparing the slides a few days ago. You can see the PPG, you can see the changes in the absolute value, you can note the changes in AC value. You can see how the interbit intervals on the 4th graph, how it represents the respiration rate, and you can see how my heart rate was changing during the time. Pulse arrival time, everything that we can sense is opened and you can access it. You click on the icon on the right, you get the data directly in MATLAB. So what are the different use cases? I'd like to talk on a couple of use cases that we believe might have significant potential in preventive health. We mentioned cardiovascular monitoring earlier. About a month ago, one of our collaborators, Professor Elazar Edelman at MIT, and us decided to try to put SimBand on a pig. while different experiments and different drugs, you can see here the clinical ECG on the top and how PVCs are looking on a wrist device in real time. Can we detect AFibs? It's up to somebody in the audience here to come up with the algorithms and the methods to be able to do so. What number of PVCs per hour are starting to be of concern? How can we prove this? This is what we mean by spending time on proving the use cases in a methodical, academic environment, going and researching how we can really generate and impact life with wrist devices. I don't think I need to say anything to this audience about the importance of medication adherence. Here's another snippet from the same study. 10 minutes, 3 different doses of epi. So I'm not a doctor, and I've been told that epi is not the most gentle of drugs, but nevertheless, look how clearly we can detect, using a wrist device on the bottom, the effect of the medication. As we look at other variables, heart rate variability, pulse arrival time, the changes in the AC-DC ratios, different wavelengths and how they penetrate the skin differently, different technologies such as the sensi-free technology, we'll get more and more visibility into how different drugs are absorbed by our body. And that leads to personalized medication. Because the foundation of personalized medication is the small data. It's being able to understand the relationship between the 10 milligram of epi or another drug that we have given to the physiological change that it has created. You can see here how we can detect the change in stroke volumes, how we can look at the changes in the pulse wave analysis that the drug have induced. Was it 10 milligrams that should have been prescribed? 12.5? 9.5? The potential to understand the signals, the small signals from the people, is the foundation. Many other use cases that partners are coming to us with, and that's the most exciting part. And that's really what we want to hear from the audience and why I'm here today. We love working with different academic institutions, different startups, even bigger companies, all looking passionately at different use cases. Everything from being able to detect and understand sleep apnea, remote patient or senior monitoring, stress management, how we can help autism. The potential is huge. And there are many, many other use cases that only the people like you can come up with and then take SIMBANDs and prove them. So we take an individual data and we analyze it. But yes, to really be able to analyze both for personalized medication, for PVCs, to understand if this is the norm or not the norm and what's the right amount, there's one thing we need to be able to do: bring the data together, which is what we have talked about earlier. Because when we take the small data from multiple people and bring it together, we get the big data. Want to finish with one more comment on the use cases. 150 years ago, Samuel Siegfried Karl von Ritter, using the latest 19th century technology, invented blood pressure. 150 years of impacting how we medicine and how we take care of the human body today. I'd like to throw the challenge back to the audience. What can we do with 21st century technology to have the same impact? Thank you.